G'day everybody and welcome to the House of Mario South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by a 120 power star rating. I'm your host Drew Agnew and the doors episode 271 are open. Today on the show, Nintendo's released their financials and my god, Josh loves numbers. He loves just to discussing them. Oh god. And you know what? I don't mind talking about them either. So it's always interesting to see how the business is going and what that means for future endeavors when it comes to other products. And of course, we finally got the first word of a brand new Nintendo system, the successor to the Switch. And that was a nice little tweet we can talk about. All that and much more. And very excited to introduce Josh to the podcast. Josh, how you going, my friend?
This is Joshua, producer of Nintenvania. I now introduce myself like Nintendo does when they tweet. The important people tweet on their X platform. How you doing, Drew?
I'm going well, absolutely. That's a good point, actually. We need to be a little bit more formal, I think. Like, yes, this is Drew. I don't really have an account that I tweet from anonymous, like as an anonymous person. You know what I mean? I don't really use the House of Mario account anymore, purely out of laziness, and I don't really like posting on social media that much. Maybe if I post from that, but yeah, this is Drew. Yes, whatever I decide to post, but don't know.
Just to make it clear, sometimes because like when you see Nintendo tweet, I automatically assume it's just the 22-year-old marketing student who's trying to learn the ropes still. So I'm glad they clarify every now and then that it's Miyamoto sometimes when it's the Mario movie, and when it's important Switch successor stuff, it's Furukawa just sort of defining it and letting us know. I've always found it a little weird. I like it though. It's very Nintendo though.
It is amusing, but it gets the point over. Yeah. When there's like a direct message that needs to come from somebody in particular. I guess it makes sense. It is pretty funny. I would like to see it on like the PlayStation account or something like, I can't even think of who's over there at the moment.
Jim Ryan.
Jim Ryan, he's gone. He's gone ski.
Is he gone?
Yeah, no, he's gone. He's retired. He's gone off into the sun. I forgot the Japanese man that took his role over just while they find a new president. Hiroki Totoki, that's the one. His name's Hiroki Totoki. So he could be like, Hiroki Totoki here. Yes, I am talking about something very important relating to the PlayStation 5. You will get an announcement for the PlayStation 6 sometime between 2030. See you later. We just get something like that.
It was the same thing. It was the most generic, like 9 months from now, you'll hear about the Switch successor. And that's honestly it. And then it's literally, then there's a direct next month, which I thought was interesting that they announced that. But then they're like, but there's no Switch successor talk here. Like they're like tempering expectations. It's, like direct is good, but don't expect Switch successor stuff, which I'm actually kind of glad they've done because that would have been an absolute shitstorm of a thing to sort of worry about and people freaking out over what could be happening or, being touted or rumored for this direct. So I don't know. They're doing it in a weird way, but I don't mind it.
You know what the best part about it is that people just ate it up. People were just going mad about it, talking about it on like social media.
It was great.
Like 15 minutes later, my YouTube feed was literally full of like Nintendo Switch successor, like thumbnails and this, just surprised faces, all of that type of stuff. Yep. I'm like, my god. Yep. And here we are now, almost like a week later, being like, they talked about it, Josh. That was very exciting. Oh my god, they've acknowledged it.
Drew, it's a big thing, okay? I don't want you playing it down. They acknowledged it, it's like, you've been keen on someone for years and they just don't see like you exist. And then they acknowledge you exist and it changes everything. So, it's so, they feel like they had to. And I feel they kind of did it because the sales weren't, they're a little bit flatter this quarter in terms of units moved. Software's fine. The units moved is a little bit flatter than they thought. And just interesting, bring it now because the investors might have, demanded a bit more like clarification on what's going on. When's this new thing coming? So interesting. And in fact, they use successor. I think I've seen tweets the other day because when they've just like historically used to describe the next console from what the current one is. They've used successor when they've talked about Wii to Wii U, and for DS to 3DS. And then they've
Mm.
used other words for like GameCube to Wii, because that was called like a new way to
Okay.
experience games or
Mm.
something like that. And so I think they effectively said Switch 2 without saying Switch 2, which
Hmm.
everyone knows anyway. It's this is not, and all the rumors, and I think the speculations pointing towards that. But this is them effectively saying it without saying it.
Yeah, that's actually a really
Yeah.
interesting point. But I
Mm,
think, like, surely they would be like, oh, look, we got a brand new way to play. It's like, man, this thing is going
mm,
to be the most successful video game hardware of all time. Probably. If not,
yeah.
it's going to miss out by such a minuscule amount. It doesn't even matter. And what really does matter is just the amount of hardware or the amount of software that it shifts. That is ultimately what is most important to the company, and especially Nintendo, where their games, most of the top 10 are 20 million sellers, which is just incredible. Um,
Oh
so
yeah.
it's doing exactly, I guess, what it needs to do. It does sort of make me wonder though, like back when say the DS and the Wii were so successful, the Wii sold just over 100 million and the DS sold 155 million. It's just obviously together that's much more, I guess, hardware sold, but the software, it still wasn't where the Switch is, even though like a few
No.
games had just through the roof. But Mario Kart now is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is now the best selling Nintendo software of all time, which is
Yeah.
just incredible.
Unreal. Just amazing what that system has done. I just still like can't believe it half the time.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I think we'll jump straight into the financials, Josh. But before we get there, we'll just do some housekeeping. So if you want to check out the video version of this very podcast, you can go to youtube.com/iDruby, where we are live streaming right now. And in the chat, we got Wacko Jacko, who's no longer bullying me because I did, in fact, play Splatoon side
E-
order. And he asked us the question, which is not relevant to people listening on podcast service, but he says, Sunday show, question mark? And yes,
yes.
Josh has some engagements the night we usually record. So we're recording a night early. So this might be up earlier for everybody as well. So good fun stuff there. And Josh, you've recorded another episode of Nintenvania that's going out on probably the same day, unless I release this the day after. But this week you've got an episode with Fullest Fuji from the PlayStation Drive Carpool Gaming. So tell us about that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So just recorded this morning. It's not out right now, but tomorrow morning, it will be out. Foolish Fuji joined me. She really liked and enjoyed Endless Ocean Luminous. So I got her onto the show. We talked about that for a really long time, had some fun, playing some ASMR music and sort of relaxing, talking about Ugly Fish and just how we felt about that game. And then, just went over the latest news because there's a bit of it happening. The stuff we're going to talk about tonight, Nintendo World Championship, how cool that is. And then Weird Nintendo just talked about why an accelerator not unworking was a bad thing in real life, because usually you just press the accelerator in Mario Kart and that's just how you play a game. But there was something that happened in real life with a product recall that was bad for that reason. So I'll talk about all of that on Nintendo tomorrow. So check it out.
Awesome. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
Wacko Jacko in the thing again said, you should bully me to watch a Pokemon movie. I'm way behind Drew. All right, so we got to pick a Pokemon movie for Wacko Jacko to watch. I will say my favorite Pokemon movie is Pokemon Heroes, the one featuring Latios and Latias. That's my favorite Pokemon
Okay.
movie.
Yes.
If you haven't
Yes.
watched that one, watch that one. It's it's very sweet, a little bit sad. I really enjoy it, and it's sort of it's back in that it's back in the era where it's in Hoenn, but it's still in I guess technically in the timeline where Ash is adventuring Johto, so it's still the old voice actors with the old the old clothes with Misty and Brock, but it's in Hoenn. It's really great, and Wacko Jack has seen it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Destiny Deoxys. I'm just moving ahead in the timeline now. The newer ones, I don't know. The newer ones,
Yeah.
the black and white ones were terrible. I cannot recommend them.
Haven't seen them.
I forgot what the one on Netflix is called with Zarude. That one's quite good. Something of the Forest, can't quite remember. Watch that one. It's nice and accessible. Watch that one. Let me know if you watch that one, Wacko Jacko. But we can't talk about Pokemon movies forever, Josh. We have to talk about the hard hitting facts. We're
Oh,
very serious on this show. We're
let me
very
at it,
serious.
Drew.
We
Come on.
we got to know. So
Thank you.
I guess to start things off, what are the things we need to know from the financials? I know it's a boring thing, but it is interesting, especially to see in the seventh year of the Nintendo Switch, seeing how well just everything's going. And I think their projections for like what they want to sell in the next 12 months is interesting, just for the fact that where like the successor of the Switch, where it's going to land, whether the Switch 2 sales or launch is going to be included in that, which I don't think it will be, but that's a discussion we can have as well. And just the fact that, they're trying to sell, I think, like another 13 million, which is like the lifetime of Wii U, which always fascinates me as well. Just how well they're going now, just put in perspective where it's like the last year of the Switch, who hasn't bought one yet? Who's like, look, Tears of the Kingdom, no, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, like all of these massive games, like, no, they're not the games that'll shift it. But Paper Mario or Luigi's Mansion 2 or like whatever's coming out the years, like, that's the one. That's the one. I know kids are getting, kids keep on like rotating into the age group where they're looking for maybe something like a Switch. So that's where I can see it. But yeah, it always fascinates me when like these consoles sell so late in their life. And well, surely, what game can they release to sell more? But
Yeah,
yeah.
just shows how bad the Wii U was. Because yeah, you're right. In 1 year, the Switch will beat the Wii U, and it's its 8th year, and it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
one of the worst years it's had. Because every other year it's going to hit it out of the park and sell that many times over. So, um, yeah, all right. This is interesting because it comes at a time where people want Switch successors, Switch 2 info, and then they've just got to talk about what happened last quarter. They're temping expectations. They so want to get through this financial calendar year, um, minimizing the talk about the successor. They don't want to hamper sales because um, while unit sales are down, I think they sold about 1.96 million units in the quarter to end of March. The same quarter a year ago did 3.06 million. So that's a fair drop in terms of over a third down from 1 year ago. And then the quarter before that was 4.11 million, 4.73 before that. And so, yeah, it's a bit quieter to bring it to 141.32 million units of Nintendo Switches sold. So in the 140s now, it's about 13 million off the DS, which, I think they're projecting 13.5 million units to be sold in the next year or so. So it's going to beat it. It's going to beat it by the end of this time next year. We'll talk about it being the most successful Nintendo console slash handheld ever, really, which is pretty remarkable. And after that, it's got to get to Jim Ryan's PlayStation 2 fake number of 160 million, which it should the year after that, would have thought. So, yeah, like I think this is the first time you can really that sales for the console hardware have been slowing down, and COVID was a massive factor in that in terms of the peak and it's slowing down. But this was a bit more of a sudden drop, I think. Um, in a quarter that's typically quieter because it's a bit after Christmas. If you're going to buy a console, it's not likely during that quarter. It's going to be sometime before Christmas or middle of the year when there's a big game and things like that. So, um, interesting time to sort of explain that. But the reason they're not going to release a Switch 2 anytime soon is because they're just making more money still. Just because they're selling less consoles, their software sales are just through the roof. Like, just absolutely unreal. Just everything is like the margins are great. They're making a lot of money. I was reading the report because the yen's been so bad lately. Their exporting's gone up because people import their goods at a cheaper price and are able to sell it better as well. And so there's while that means their home expenses are higher, like the yen's actually contributed to much better bottom line performance for them. So um Yeah, they talk about that a bit in the results here, which I think's pretty interesting. I might be the only one who thinks that though. I'm not sure about you, Drew, with the depth that
No,
you got
I
to
do. It's
that
like
kind of stuff.
I'm sure like a lot of people listening are like they want to hear video game talk and they don't want to hear like the economics and like the reality of business when it comes to translating currency and stuff. But I think
Sure.
as somebody who'd like, I just love gaming, and it's even to the point
Yeah.
where I care about like the behind the scenes of like obviously the creative, but I also think like the business is interesting as well, and understanding why decisions are made throughout some companies. And holding on to like a brand new system because of like the realities of the situation of what the yen is doing over in Japan. That's just an interesting thing to know. So I appreciate you bringing that up. But yeah, it also plays into like some other companies who make some decisions, which we'll talk about a bit later as well, where it's like, all
Yeah.
right, so what's the business reality for this? Really not much.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a decision you made to like save a couple of bucks. But ultimately, what does that lead to for your brand? But yeah, Nintendo doesn't seem to do too many of those that we can pick up. But anyway, we'll leave
Yeah.
that.
No, that's fair. But yeah, like hardware sales are down. I think software's slightly down overall, but the profits near record highs. The margin they're making is pretty unreal. Outside of that, though, I wanted to mention Mario vs. Donkey Kong and then Princess Peach Showtime hit 1 million sales. I thought that was pretty good, especially for Princess Peach Showtime because it's up to the end of March, and that released like a week and a bit before the end of March, and so some people bought that straight away, which was good. Um, Another code recollection did get a mention, so I don't think it sold the 1 million copies, which is a bit sad for that game, but probably not too surprised really.
No.
That did not make the 1 million mark. I think they did some other updated figures, like Pikmin's at 3.5 million now. That's sold a little bit since it came out in July last year. But yeah, I think things are just moving along. Like Mario Kart 8, like sold 8.1 million copies or something for the year. Just amazing. Animal Crossing New Horizons 3 million. Same as Smash Bros Ultimate. So it's just yeah, they've got that high install base. People are playing it. They're interested. Okay, I like this game. What else can I get to my catalog? Like my brother bought an OLED a year and a half ago. Wanted to borrow Mario Kart 8 from me last week. I said, yeah, you can borrow it. I just would like it back in a reasonable time because I do play it every now and then. And he's just like, no, we just bought it. We just decided to buy it. He came back to me
Yeah, may
with.
as well. Hmm.
Um, Everyone does it. Everyone buys a Switch, and then like, yeah, I need Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because that's a fun time. So, um, yeah, they mentioned Nintendo, like they don't want this announcement of the successor to impact sales, and so they're doing this in a weird way to sort of like say it to the investors, but not really publicly say anything new or different to the mums and dads or anyone who's thinking of buying a Switch for their kids or for themselves. It's yeah, they're trying to appease everyone by sort of saying things, and you've got to read between the lines to really work out what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it will be interesting to just see what direction they go in with this June
Mm,
direct, because this is probably like the first direct we've known that's going to be like
yeah,
coming a month before, especially in like a post E3 era as well, because we all rely on
yeah,
E3 and Nintendo's going to be there. But these days, we're pretty confident there's always a direct at the start of the year, and this
mm,
year will proved wrong just to the situation Nintendo's in. They don't really have anything to
yeah,
show, so they may as well not show up. But they've mentioned that they will be showing up. Farakawa himself mentioned the direct about the lineup for the rest of the year. It'd be interesting just to see what they've got. Like, will they
yeah.
still be pushing hard with a big game, or will it be more stuff like Luigi's Mansion 2 or Paper Mario Thousand Year Door? Assumably great products,
Mm,
just from the platforms they've released on previously, but it is remasters and ports and all that type of stuff that if you've been with Nintendo for 10 or 15 years or even 20 years with Paper Mario, you would have already played those games. But it opens it up to like a brand new audience. So whether they're sort of relying on that type of stuff to
mm,
lead it up, because you can see it'll be a massive mistake if they're like, all right, we're going to have a big game. It's going to be a Mario game. It's going to, that'll be a mistake because they want people to buy the next platform next year. So
Yeah,
that'd be a massive mistake. So they've got to like really just, it's a fine line. They've got to like thread the needle in some ways. Like, all right, let's keep our
I thought
customers
about
happy
it.
with exciting products, but not too exciting. They got to buy the $600 piece of plastic next year to play that
Yeah.
bad boy. Uh,
You're so right though, because yeah, they're gonna save their Mario Kart 9 or 10, whatever you want to call it, for the Switch successor. They're gonna save the big 3D Mario for the same console. And so I imagine they're at that stage now where, break glass in case of emergency, and out comes Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD coming to the Switch later this year in October or something like that. Or um they weigh up Metroid Prime 4 finally, and just like, do we release it now as the big new game this holiday season? And then potentially we can re-release it on Switch 2 and have it in 4K when it's docked, and it's a visual masterpiece in that. Um, and gets re-released, and people can double dip if they want, or has extra modes, or something like that, which I don't think Metroid fans would really mind too much. And I'd be the sucker to buy it twice and just go along with the ride. But that's something new and different, and could get them through the year, so to speak. And Metroid might benefit from getting something with a high install base late, and then having it early again on the Switch too. I'm not sure, but they got to have something. I feel, yeah, they've got a little stash of games ready to go, and it must be something along those lines.
Yeah, you brought up a sort of a really interesting point. I've got my brain sort of ticking over. Like
Yeah.
something like a 3D Mario or a Mario Kart launch title, just to bring people in, just start off the new system strong, or is it guaranteed Nintendo fan? Like there is huge demand for the next Nintendo platform. Like there's been more demand than for almost any other system. Like it's just
Mm.
incredible. Like people have been asking for it, and just every little leak, every little tidbit just gets everybody so excited. So, do you have like something like a Metroid Prime 4, typically something that hasn't had a massive, I guess, following, when it comes to Metroid? Do you line that up with a brand new system to be like, all right, let's give the Metroid franchise like a boost in the arm in some ways, instead of having like Mario Kart boost the next system, because they might not need it. Do they start off with like Metroid's a launch title, Mario Kart is the month or two after, something similar that they did with
Mm.
the Switch, where Mario Kart came in May instead of March. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
They must be weighing it all up. I feel it must be ready. I've seen um there's a Super Metal Dave 64, I think, on YouTube. It's pretty good at sort of like finding tidbits of information. And there was a company, this is a couple of months ago, in Australia, I believe. They focus in on like video game trailers, and they were hired and listed as having worked on Metroid, or working with, sorry, Retro Studios. And so um whether that was for Metroid Prime Remastered last year, but it could be, for Metroid Prime 4. So theoretically, that game's at a stage now where a trailer's being made ready for it, things like that. So
Mm.
it must be close. Like this has been over 5 years since the development restarted, and probably nearly 6 years by the end of this year if it does come out this year. And so um, yeah, I honestly reckon they're in a room somewhere, Nintendo, deciding what is the best thing for Metroid Prime 4, and probably the series in general. Because I think there's pros and cons to both. I think the middle ground is to have it by itself later this year as the big holiday game, bring some big attention, some big marketing to it, and then on the Switch to re-release it again in 4K with a new DLC mode, or added multiplayer, or whatever they want to do, just to really sort of, get the double
Mm.
dipping. But that could be the visually stunning way. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to like them to re-release it that quick. That'd be so annoying.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe a patch or something, that'd be nice. But
For
Nintendo,
sure. Yeah.
they don't post these results by
No.
being overly nice to their customers. So.
No. If I was being honest with my heart, I would love them to save it for the Switch successor, knowing that it's going to be
Mm.
like, I'd love to think now we're so late into the Switch. Like, no, they decided early on to make it for the successor, and it looks amazing. It runs really well. And they put a lot of attention, and then it's going to be an early successor launch game, Switch 2 launch game, then you've seen it with Breath of the Wild. We've seen it with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It just sells because it's at the start.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games, and it would make Metroid one of the big selling titles for the new system.
Yeah. And that's why I love talking about this stuff, because
Mm.
all of their games, I like playing cards, and I've got to work out when they play them. Like with Mario vs Donkey Kong, that's still voice acted by Charles Martinet. So the likelihood of that game being made a fair while ago and being saved for releasing at the start of this year when they had nothing and they got a month it can slot into. You can sort of see Nintendo really thinking about Metroid, where it plays a part in the industry. It's got its fans, but it's not that popular. So will it be a holiday game? It won't be something. It can be something for the Switch, but it won't be something so big that will take away from Switch 2. But it could also benefit from being there at launch on Switch 2. So they got to sort of work out where it can go and what would benefit. What's the more upside? Is there more upside to making Metroid a more prominent series, being there at launch, or just there for the fans who want it at the end of Switch 2? At the end of Switch later this year, if it is ready to go.
Yeah.
Because if you look back at Switch and you look at the negatives, the blunders by Nintendo, Metroid Prime 4 is one of the big blunders that Nintendo has made. And it's something that's really embarrassed them, something where they actually came out and publicly apologized. Because typically there isn't really anything that public. Games will get cancelled all the time. Things will be shifted around, but there won't be an announcement. This is what's happening. This is who's making it. And then obviously it's just the making of the game just falls apart in such a bad way that Nintendo has to scrap it and send it off to somebody else, and they've got to tell their consumers yeah, this isn't coming in the next couple of years. This is another 5-6 years, and it's going to a completely different studio. So it's something that's really embarrassed Nintendo. So when we find out about it, I think their idea is that it won't be all right, you're going to see some gameplay and it's going to be out in another year. It will be another probably 3 months from when they show gameplay, and they'll come out straight away with a release date. It's ready. Yeah.
I think they've learned not to announce something that early with a partner, because I know they talk about Zelda, and that Zelda's one of those franchises they talk about years ahead, and they announce a delay, and people are fine with it mostly because they know it's going to be an amazing game. When you partner with, I think it was rumored Bandai Namco, and that fell through and it didn't work out. I think Nintendo realized not to do it, especially for partners. But I think every other series except Zelda, just keep it close to your chest, and within 6 months of a release date, you can talk about it, and they'll be it's 90% ready by then, and there shouldn't really be any issues. And so, I agree they were definitely embarrassed by it, but it could be the best thing they ever did to get it restarted, and this could be an amazing game. So I'm really hoping this. I'm sure it's paid off. I just really hope it they hit it out of the park and retro. I think it's a game release as well, because it's been 10 years since Tropical Freeze.
It's been a long time.
Not counting Metroid Prime Remastered, because that's just a touch-up job. They did a very good job at it, but a brand new game, 10 years, crazy, honestly crazy.
Yeah, it'll be just fascinating, just from the perspective of seeing what Retro Studios has been up to. Because they've got the team members that made Metroid Prime, they moved on. They moved on to 343 Industries with Halo 4 and all that type of stuff. So whether they were able to get some of those creatives back, or they got people that grew up on Metroid Prime and just really passionate to work on the series. It'd be interesting to see just see how it ends up, because it's been a long time. So it'll be essentially a new team, maybe the same building, but just
people who had grown up playing the game, playing the originals, and getting the chance now to make the new one. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So exciting stuff. Hopefully we see it soon, but not too early where they've got to cancel it again.
Oh,
Can you imagine?
Oh no! Don't even say that.
No, sorry.
That's mean.
Well, I didn't mean to do it as a mean thing, but it's just.
Imagine if they just ignore it forever now. It's been cancelled 2 years ago. They just don't want to admit it now, and just it's forever Metroid Prime 4 and their financials TBA. Just
Yeah,
haunting
they
me for
actually
the
had
rest of
no
my life,
intention of rebooting
ever doing it.
development.
Yeah,
They just got Retro Studios just to update their LinkedIn every now and again, so it looked like they were
yeah,
doing something, but
correct,
in
correct.
reality, nothing was happening. Oh boy.
I don't like that.
No,
That's
fair
a
enough.
yeah, it's a reality I don't want to be a part of. Thank you very much,
You
Drew.
know that would be a tough reality. I'm sorry about that, Josh. I know you're a big
Yeah, thank
fan.
you. Yeah.
So it's not so hard on me because I'm still like I still got to play 2 and 3. So I'm like, look, I got time, man. I got to play those games. You need to remaster those bad boys. Send in my direction before I'm.
Shadow Drop and Drone Drew. They'll package together.
Yeah,
Get
just chuck
ready.
them together.
Hell yeah.
Chuck them
Can't wait.
together and yeah, bundle them together and let me buy them and I'll download them on my Switch and I'll go boom, boom, boom and I'll solve some
Can't,
puzzles and we'll be done and I'll
yeah.
move on to the 4th game. Look at that.
Yep. Make it happen, Nintendo.
Yeah,
Drew is waiting.
yeah, no. Look, I played the first game, the remaster. I'm like, oh look, Metroid Prime is actually. I figured out what a Metroid Prime was. That was incredible. I never thought about what a Metroid Prime was until
Yeah.
it came up on my screen saying Metroid Prime. I'm like,
Until the end. Yes.
that's the name on the box. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's you. Oh yeah.
It's you.
You're gonna
You're
keep
the Metroid Prime.
You're the Metroid Prime. Yep.
Good you
Also,
hear.
I want to shout out to Foolish Fuji for diving in endless ocean right now. She's probably playing a dive and listening to us right now. So thank you. But I know we talked about this last episode, Drew. But I also I want to make it known again. There was a bit of
Make it known.
discussion in the Discords about Pokemon Legends ZA or ZA, whatever you want to call it.
Ah.
He's calling it for a launch title. I agree with the history that it doesn't traditionally happen on a new console, but my roughy prediction is I'm with him. I think my rough prediction is it's going to be a launch title.
It lines up beautifully.
So far away. Yeah, so that's my rough prediction. I know historically it isn't the case and it doesn't make sense from that point of view, but I just think this time because it's not mainline, it's a side game. That it's going to be a launch title as well.
Awesome. Well, if you're right, that sounds fantastic. I'd love to play a brand new open world Pokemon game on my new Switch 2 straight away. That sounds great. But yeah, I'm very pessimistic when it comes to just Pokemon and Game Freak. So, I'm going to stick with that.
They're a well-oiled machine and they do things in order. So I very much admit that, it looks unlikely, but it's going to be my roughie. Keeps me interesting and indifferent.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it just comes down to, I think it just comes down to whether Game Freak could be like, all right, we're going to do like an up-resed version, like I don't know, like you can play it better on the new Switch 2.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. Like, is Game Freak going to like have those 2 technical pillars that are different between each system? I don't know.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a technical. Yeah, it's unlikely to be a technically, powerful thing really for the Switch successor. No. No. Yep. I get you. I got a lot of it. Yeah, correct. So acknowledge all that, but that's just my roughy guess.
Yeah, because if we're talking about any other Nintendo game, like, oh, look, it's launching on this system at the same time. Like Nintendo, especially with Zelda, they've been doing that the last 2 generations where you play like Twilight Princess or Breath of the Wild on, each of the systems coming out. And they've got like different features between different systems, either with motion controls or Breath of the Wild actually dropped it for the Wii U version, but you could play on the gamepad and look at the black screen, I guess. So yeah, if it was like a more like in-house Nintendo property, I could definitely see that. But don't know. I'm just Game Freak. I'm like, man, you just a little bit standoffish. Like, I don't know. Unless Nintendo's just like puts their foot down, being like, listen, boys and girls, we would love this Pokemon game on the new system. It'd be great. Please, cherry on top. Or Nintendo probably just doesn't care, but like, you can buy the new system and play this backwards compatible on your Switch. So who cares? I don't care what it looks like. I think that's probably. Honestly. I don't know. I just see that being more the case. But if I'm wrong, fantastic, beautiful. I can't wait. I can't wait to explore Luminous City in whatever frames per second they'll be able to get on it. Be able to play at 45 frames. That'd be a
That's a step
amazing.
up. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
45.
Yeah, less bugs.
Yeah,
There'll still be bugs, I'm sure, but less.
yeah. It might fluctuate between 30 and 60 frames. Oh, look, it still makes me sick, but at least it doesn't go down too low. I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see. I love it. Foolish Fuji says, must be backwards compat or the whole Nintendo community will riot. Yes, I think we will. Especially because, oh, Jesus Christ.
That's not my
Josh
riot
is
sound.
You're right. Is that your riot music? Do 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 do.
Sorry, I don't have a riot sound. I realized as I pressed it. But I agree with Foolish Fuji.
I do. I do too.
Yep.
Yeah, because you can imagine like 7 years of like indie games and third-party games and all that just not being available on the next system, whereas it'll all be available on PS5 and obviously Steam Deck and Xbox. And then it's like, oh, well, you've got to go and play your old Switch to get access to, I don't know, Hollow Knight or, something like that. Yep. Where it's like, yeah, it'll be annoying just for as a consumer.
They've talked about the Nintendo, I can't remember the name now, your Nintendo login, your Nintendo account transferring across. So it makes so much sense for everything else to be the same. So they want to make this as seamless as possible, and they'll sell it to you that you can play your old stuff on this new system, but to play the new stuff, you need the new system. And so you're like, well, I'll upgrade anyway because my OLED's showing a bit of wear and tear now, or like me, my OG Switch is definitely running on empty right now and needs something else. So I don't think that'll be reason enough to get people across. And people love magnets. I call them magnets.
Oh, magnets are beautiful, man. I love.
Magnets are great.
My son Lucas, he has like little magnet tiles. You can make blocks and houses and stuff with, and they are fun. They're like snap together, and you can do stuff. So you can imagine with the Switch, just like chunk goes on each side. That'd be fun because it's even fun like sliding the Joy-Cons on and off the rails. Like it's satisfying.
What if I wanted to play the new Switch like this, and you could put the magnets anywhere? And then I can play it like that.
Oh,
how cool would that be?
Yeah, because there's that grip. There's that grip for like arcade shoot 'em ups where you can like put the Joy-Cons on the side. Yeah.
Yep. Why don't make it like more options so where you can like play it in a style that that fits you or fits the situation. I don't know. That's a Nintendo way to do it. Maybe.
Yeah, I think like the Switch was great. Especially like in the early years, because it's so versatile. We take Joy-Cons off, multiplayer, just out and about, kickstand, chuck it on the TV. Like it's great because it's versatile. I think what I'd love to see from the next Switch is just up that versatility. Whether they sell you like different controllers for like different type games, you can slide on the sides. And like you said, with like something like magnets or whatever mechanism they decide to use, like if you could like attach that to not only like the sides and make it a handheld. If you could put them like the Switch where it's like standing vertical and you can put it on the side so you can have like different gaming experiences for like shoot 'em ups or whatever. That'd be really cool. A lot of like creative ideas. You can still have like a handheld system, but also just have different ideas for developers to be able to use. That'd be pretty cool. And something like, the Steam Deck or Lenovo Legion and stuff like that. Just like, it won't be able to do because it runs PC games and they're not going to use all those features. So there's a lot of cool things you can do. It's so exciting, man. This is going to be like,
I'm ready.
Once this all starts popping off, man, we're going to have like so much fun just talking about all the games and the system and all that.
It's exciting again.
It's fun now. It's fun now. We're getting close. We can smell it. Go.
Yeah, the hype's building. And then the first couple of months were a bit rough because it didn't happen. There was no direct, and then we're hearing murmurs that it's getting delayed, and that got people a little disappointed, me included. But at least it's it's getting closer now, and it's feeling a bit more real. And then we've got a direct in June, which I think is awesome. Which had to happen anyway because they've got nothing after Nintendo World Championship now in July. But it's there's always something cool next to be excited for, and it's cool. I like it.
I like it too. As long as we don't get the system and we've got to do a 6 gig day one update and only to play New Super Mario Brothers U or Nintendo Land or Zombie U. As long as that's not the first day of owning the next system, I'm happy, I still
Yep.
remember those
Yep.
Wii U days. I still look. I didn't have the like good internet at the time. I had like 5 gig just total for the month as far as my usage went. So I had to take that bad boy to Bryce's. We're both from
Yep.
Bryce's kitchen, downloading the day one patch on our Wii U's. I was there. I lived through all
Yeah.
that shit. I
You
lived through
you're
all
the
of their. They did their
you're the
monthly
sucker.
directs. Yeah,
Yeah, the
did
monthly
their monthly
directs.
directs, just like saying, "Hey, look, we're bringing out Ice Climbers to the Virtual Console," and it literally comes like 3 months later. Like it was incredible how slow. Surely that could be like one of the employees could have like just did that in a day and just got it out to us. Surely, oh god.
Dark days. Yep. Yep. Not like that anymore. Definitely not.
So look, delay it all you want, but don't do that again. Don't do that again. I love the Wii U, but cross almighty, that was a
Yeah.
those were days, man.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah. Yep. You got through it, and you're stronger now for it, and you appreciate the
that's
Switch
right.
now more so because of what happened with the Wii U.
I've got a 2-year-old, and I might not have been equipped to be a father without those Wii U days under my belt. Those were hard times, Josh. Those were hard times. I was looking at Senpai
Yep.
Nintendo, and they're like, "We're not doing too well there, Drewy." I'm like, "Boys, get it together. Make a
Get it
fucking
together.
game and release it, please."
Yep.
I had to wait over a year for a remake of Wind Waker. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know, Drew. That's it.
2014 struck. We got Mario Kart and Smash finally.
Oh, that's when I joined the Wii U craze. I didn't get it straight away. I waited. I was a little out of gaming then. So yeah. But yeah, you lived at day one, so you got the battle scars. You're wounded. And
Oh,
you've just
look.
recovered now. So you don't want another Switch. I mean, you don't want a Wii to Wii U situation now with this Switch. So
No.
lots on the line for you, buddy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's right. I'm like a war veteran. It's like just tossing and turning in my sleep.
Yeah,
No.
never again.
No.
Leave me alone.
It's funny because like with all the closures of the Wii U eShop and stuff, everyone's like, "Oh, the Wii U is so good." It's like, yeah, like it is fun. It's fun to use. Like all of these retro systems, they're fun to pick up because they're all, especially Nintendo, they're all so unique. Whether it's like you go back to the NES, the SNES, Nintendo 64, GameCube, they're all so distinct just in their controllers and the games. The Wii and even the Wii U. When it's not your main Nintendo console, when you're not relying on games coming to it, it's a fun console to pick up. The second screen experience is pretty cool when it's used in like the 3 games that used it. But yeah, can't do that again. Anyway, enough rambling on this. I guess just, is there anything else from Nintendo's financials you'd like to touch on before we move on?
No, that was it. It's yeah. So a bit of like, sorry, there was one thing. Interesting to know the Switch sales are going to they're down this quarter. Whether they stay down again, and I've heard people talking about price cuts and things like that. I don't think they're going to cut the price of the Switch too.
Nah.
Sorry, I don't think they're going to cut the price of the current Switch, the OLED, the standard Switch, or the Lite. Only because if they cut it now, then they release the price of the Switch successor. You want it for them. They want to be able to put a premium on what the current price is. And so if you cut it and then put a premium on top of that, the gap would be big in terms of, what
True.
What the cut price of the Switch is and what the new price of the Switch 2 is. And so I really think from aesthetics and product placement and marketing, they don't cut. Maybe they hope that some software this year can get them across the line to what they want to with the targets. But yeah, I honestly don't think the Switch 2 is getting a price cut tool after the launch of the Switch successor.
Yeah, that's a fascinating sort of brain exercise to make as well. Because yeah, when they release the next system, will they keep the price of the current Switch the same? Because say the next Switch this is Australian currency, just for anyone across the seas. Say $700 Australian, the new Switch, and they keep what's the OLED, $550? Like they keep that price the same. So it's like the new one, it's only $150 more. Why don't you just get the new one, which plays with the new games?
Yeah. Or
do it's a weird thing to slash it like the day of or even before, isn't it? Because it was like, oh well, the old Switch is $200 or whatever they slash it to, $300 probably, $400. They probably won't be that much.
No.
They probably keep it the same. Like And
Yeah,
then
so
just
they
make it.
I don't think they'll cut it. They might do bundle deals, things like that. But yeah, not until the two launches, and then it might to really sort of flog things off and make it my first Switch or something. Kitty's first Switch. That's when they'll do it.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the iPad model as well, where Apple sort of prices they got like their entry iPad, their iPad Air, which is the mid iPad, and then you got the iPad Pro, and they sort of tier it like, oh well, if I'm getting this much storage and I'm getting Wi-Fi enabled and whatever, I might as well get the iPad Air. And you get the iPad Air, oh look, if I add this storage and this to that, I might as well just get the Pro. And they sort of like upsell you just gradually, so you can see like a similar tactic Nintendo would use with the current Switch and not slash it. They got to keep as strong as they can to be able to upsell you to the next one coming. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's what I reckon.
Because everybody sort of like discussed, like, oh, they're going to slash it this year and just get in on the holiday sales, but probably actually not. They're probably like, look, if it doesn't sell that well, we really want to fire off on the next one. Don't know. Yeah, it's just fascinating. I do really actually find this stuff interesting. Just trying to understand it in some ways.
Yeah, there's a lot of things they can pull and create more sales and demand and things like that. But they haven't had to for a while, and I feel it's too late for them to even bother doing it because the next big thing's coming, and they'll want to charge at least $600 Australian for the next console. They'll probably make it $629 or $650. That's what I'm expecting the new model to cost. At least $50 more, probably more than that than the OLED. It's gonna be an expensive boy to pick up, so I've started saving. I'm ready. I will be ready by March next year.
Likewise, I'll start
that's when it'll probably launch.
Piggy bank.
Yeah. Get your pennies ready.
Sounds bloody beautiful, mate. Bloody beautiful. Let's move on to, I guess, a new game announcement by Nintendo last week. Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. Going to be coming out July. So, pretty cool. This did leak from the NSRB, the rating board in the US, which is kind of rare, actually. Nothing really leaks from them as far as, like, game releases. It's usually, like, Brazil or South Korea or, something like that. But, yeah.
Yes.
The Americans fucked it up this time, so good on them.
Yeah. I want to know how. There must be a good story with this, whether they just weren't ready in time or miscommunication. Because they obviously had the trailer dropped a few days later, so it was not like they weren't ready. Probably. It'd be interested to know.
Yeah, it'd be like one of those Astoria journalists who just got nothing better to do than try and dig that one up. Like, there's all this other stuff going on. It's like, oh, how did this leak? It's like,
would have been a King Chris episode if they were still at Nintendo and then later formed.
That's right. Yeah.
Alas, we won't know.
That's a good thing for them to pick up since they're so, I guess, they're so involved in the industry.
Contacts. Yeah, there might have some contacts at Nintendo still. Maybe I'll ask. Oh, sorry, listen.
I'll ask. Yeah, well, you can ask. You can reach out.
I could ask. I bet other people have asked him in their Discords. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah. But so this is the game that you'll be able to recreate 150 challenges from 13 NES games. See if you can become the world champion. You can speed run through all the games by yourself to be the fastest. There's also a weekly global leaderboard and 5-player local multiplayer as well. So this looks like a lot of fun. If you remember like NES Remix from the Wii U days, Josh, that was a lot of fun as well. This is a bit different. It's not quite as like fast paced and like WarioWare-esque, but it is, I guess just getting snippets of the games and recreating like scenarios where you got to do as quick as you can and stuff that Nintendo themselves would sort of make you do if you did enter one of these back in whether it was like 1990 or even 2015 or 2017. Yep, trying to remember that. That was the launch of the Switch. It took a while to come to my head. But pretty cool. It'll be interesting when I actually play it. I'm sort of looking at the video. I'm like, how much fun is it going to be by myself? Not sure, but where this is really going to come into play is like that 5-player local multiplayer. That's where it's going to be fun.
It's actually 8 Drew. 8 people can you play
8, is it?
with
Oh,
me.
okay.
Yes,
I'm picking
yes.
this
It
up
was weird.
from Vook's article, and they
The,
said 5. Those cheeky
the,
bastards.
well, Nintendo I think said 8 in the video, and
Oh,
then
that's cool.
8 in their media release. Yeah, so it was weird because the trailer's only got 5 of them, and so they're not fully utilizing
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
but
that's even better. That's awesome.
yeah, I'm with you on this, Drew, because I think but by itself and with the leaderboards, it's not that special. But if you get a whole bunch of people together, especially competitive gamers, so I'm imagining like this would be a great PAX
Mm.
evening game with a few
Oh,
others, with a few other
wonderful.
people we know. I think this would be fun for that like exact reason. So when I saw the announcement and sort of understood what this game is about. That was my first thought, and so I'm excited to play it that weekend with a few people, get them all together, and do it that way. But yeah, so it's speed running challenges from 13 classic NES games. It's we don't know exactly. We know some of the challenges what they're going to be, but maybe some of them are pretty detailed, and there's some maybe other things you have to do within it. But yeah, it could be a really fun time, but it could be pretty standard game, really. In the end, I suppose we don't quite know until we see it for ourselves.
Yeah. I think like if you've got like a room full of people and like be like a great like pass the controller type game, like all right, try and do this, and
Yeah,
do it, goes to like a leaderboard, bit of a tournament situation, and I can see like those leaderboards online being pretty fun as well. Um, Nintendo isn't so good at it, but if you can get like your friends list, like a personalized friends list leaderboard where it is like, look, it's got Josh. Josh is at the top. Look, I've got to try and knock his score off. I'm second. Then you got
yeah,
some of my friends chasing me as well on their leaderboards. That's where it's fun. But if it's just like a global leaderboard where it's like, oh, I'm like the 1 millionth person on the leaderboard, like I couldn't give a shit. Like I'm not gonna beat
yeah.
anyone. But
You want to know
if
how
I'm
you go
trying,
against your friends, don't you?
yeah, exactly. Like if like you got Wacko Jacko trying to catch me on the leaderboard, I'm trying to catch Josh. You got Foolish Fuji just chucked in the game, and she's trying to get up the leaderboard as well. That's where it's fun. And you get like the tweets back and forward, the like the DMs, be like, hey, look, I'm catching you. I'm gonna get you tonight if you don't log on and do some challenges. I reckon that'd be a lot of fun. But I
Yeah,
see some people
correct.
also poo-pooing the idea as well because like all of these games are available on Nintendo Switch Online. And I think it was Andre from Game Explain, but like, hey, look, you can do all of these just with like save states on there. And I 100% get that. But this game is just like the presentation of packing it together, putting a couple of those features in. Because yes, you can be like, all right, we're going to play Mario and let's see who can beat the first level the fastest. Yes, you can do that. But there's also like the whole thing of the presentation and just how it makes it easy, accessible, and just presents it to you and makes it
Yeah,
fun, hopefully.
that's right. You're not gonna really recreate it through save states that way and get people
No.
together. I know there's no online with this, so you can't play with your friends online, which I think is a bit of a miss and a bit disappointing. But
Yeah.
I think you're with me, Drew. I think the main thing that people got very excited for is this, and so don't know if you can see my screen. Has that come up? Yeah. Do you have to approve it, Drew? Do I
I do.
have
Approved.
privileges?
There it is.
There you go. See if I can zoom in a bit longer, a little bit. All right. So I think have
Yeah,
you
that special
pre-ordered this
edition.
the deluxe edition? I think this is a pretty cool special edition for any Nintendo fan. Really, that's a kind of
Mm.
um, like if you're a Nintendo fan person, that's a big bucket list item. Once you see that, you want that in your collection, and so what those 13 art cards at the bottom, those enamel pins. I think they look quite big, so they'll be pretty cool on a display shelf. You got Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and Donkey Kong games represented with the Nintendo World Championship logo. But then I'm a big sucker for a golden cartridge, and so having that
Oh,
replica gold NES cartridge with the game sticker on it, I think that's pretty cool. That's another, and the sleeve as well, those classic sleeves, and so yep. They had me the moment this was announced. Yep. I'm a sucker for these kind of things, and so but very cool to have this in my collection the day it comes out.
yeah. I didn't jump straight onto it. It's $90, so I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm that keen to jump straight on it for $90. I do love like the gold NES replica cartridge. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That would be nice to have. It's got like the sleeve and everything for it. That's great. The art
Yeah.
cards, the pins don't excite me at all. Like I've got, like I'm cleaning, I'm like organizing this room for the baby, and like I've got that many pins and just shit that I've picked up from packs. I'm like I'm not a pin man.
Yeah.
And the box and stuff's nice too. But yeah, it's mainly that cartridge that would be bloody beautiful.
Very good. All right. So at least one thing for you.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't jumped
Yeah.
on it. I'm just on EB Games at the moment. It's still available to pre-order.
It's
Like
still there. Still there.
I wasn't too worried about it. I didn't see it like disappearing that quickly, if at all, before the game actually launches. So yeah, I didn't jump straight onto it. I got a bit of time. I'm whether to make a
Yeah.
decision.
I heard pre-orders in the States were bad, and that was just like, okay, I better
They
just
usually
make sure
are.
I get it straight away. But yeah, they're really bad in the States for pre-orders. We're pretty lucky here in Australia.
Yeah,
Getting
we got
the
it pretty
ability
good.
to sort of, we there seems to be plenty of stock for the number of people in here
Yeah.
wanting things, and so it works out pretty well, really, for us. If you
Yeah.
get something straight away, it's going to be there.
I'm just looking on EB Games at the moment. There's the pre-order item on EB Games for Paper Mario is like a magnet sheet. Like I really don't. That doesn't really excite me at all to pre-order. I got to say, I don't really never need Paper Mario magnets. But I could be wrong. They could be the most bloody gorgeous magnets I've ever seen. But I really want that reversible GameCube cover that I think is available in the UK at one of the outlets there. That'd be nice. That's what I want.
What? Oh,
Yeah,
I
you
did not
didn't
know
see
that.
this. Yeah, there's a pre-order bonus in,
What?
I think, I don't know, it might be Game in the UK. I'm not quite sure, but they've got reversible GameCube Thousand Year Door cover for like the Nintendo Switch. It looks awesome. Like it is just the GameCube cover art with like only on Nintendo, sort of that little thing in the corner with the GameCube curve at the top. It's beautiful. That's what I want. I don't want a magnet sheet.
Yeah, sign me up for that.
It's almost worth pre-ordering from from the UK for that. I think that is awesome.
But close. Oh man, that's annoying. Why don't we get that here?
Don't know. Well,
That's
the US isn't
annoying.
getting it either. I don't know. It's just like
Yeah,
something Nintendo UK that decided it was a good idea, but no one else did. We got magnets.
Yep.
I don't know. JB Hi-Fi might have something different for us as well. I don't think they have the reversible cover art, but they probably got like a fucking pin or some shit.
Yeah. GameStop Canada, I think it is, receive a free slip cover.
It's Canada. Oh. Do I know any Canadians? Sean Capri. That might be it.
Yeah, hit us up, Sean. If you could get us a copy each. I already own this game, so no, I don't need one. I'm good. I'm just gonna look at my game in the background. All right, just get one for Drew.
Just you look at the cover art. Yeah, this is a $250 GameCube copy. Nice.
Yeah, correct. I don't need it. I've already got one.
Yeah, no, we don't need it. So yeah, I think that this will be fun when it comes around. We'll see how much staying power it has, how much fun it is. The leaderboard setting, local multiplayer setting. But it'll also be very. I think a lot of people are sort of like, man, I just want NES Remix, where it is just like those NES games just completely jumbled up, and you just get thrown a game and you've got to complete a task, very WarioWare-esque. Something a little bit to that as well, which should, maybe a little bit missed, especially on like a single player sort of setting as well, a little bit more fun. But
Yep.
we shall find out. We shall find out.
Yeah, very keen. Not long now.
Yeah. All right, Josh. Let's move into what we've been playing over the last week. I've got a couple of games I want to touch on, but I think we were talking just before we started. But we've both been playing Little Kitty Big City, which has been fun. I've played it for like an hour and a half or something like that. I've played it on Xbox. I assume you've played it on Switch, so it'd be interesting to sort of have the contrast between there, because I'm playing it on Xbox. It's like it's a gorgeous game, looks really nice. Not having any issues on there. It'd be interesting to see how the Switch version sort of holds up just from that point of view before we get started. Like playing it on Switch, runs how it should.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any real issues with it. I think it runs perfectly fine on Switch. So If you got obviously Game Pass, you just get on that because it's no additional
Yeah.
cost for you. But if you're a real stickler for playing it on a handheld device, then the Switch has got you covered, and you wouldn't need to worry about it. So um, this game's really fun. I'm a big fan of Untitled Goose Game. Another that was an Australian game, and then also Stray, which was a beautiful game from a couple of years ago, where you're a cat exploring a suburban city area. And this is the same sort of thing here, Little Kitty Big City. I do have a black cat called Tifa from obviously Final Fantasy VII, and so the main character here is another black cat, and so
Yeah.
no, that was always we saw it, Michaela and I, at this indie world showcase last month for the first time. We were sold on it straight away. So yeah, we played for a few hours Friday night and really loved it. It's um, no, they got the mannerisms down packed of the kitty. It's those who don't know, it's sleeping in it's a house cat sleeping on the ledge, falls down, gets stuck within the city, and then you got to find a way to get the cat back to its home. And so it's got to make friends with other animals and interact with humans and fetch things and do all sorts of missions to try and eventually get there. So I've been really loving it. This has been a really fun, endearing sort of games. If you love cats and all the mannerisms that cats are known for, knocking things over, causing a bit of mischief, but also being incredibly cute and loving belly rubs and all the like. You are in for a treat because it's a very much a love letter to cat fans out there. Have you found it, Drew?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It is funny. Straight off the bat, I asked you just like, on Switch, is it holding up? It's funny because the reason I finished my play session last night was because I got stuck on a ledge and like my cat just froze. And whenever I moved the left stick, he just like spun like a Beyblade. Like I've got a video of it. I'll show you if I remember. But he was the cat's just. I couldn't move off this ledge. He was just stuck. He was frozen, no animation, and he would just spin around like a Beyblade. So I'm like, all right, well, I might end it there. So yeah, that's funny if I asked you that because playing on Xbox via Game Pass, I run into a little bug, but. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised by this game. I signed up to Game Pass for this game. I hadn't been subscribed since the start of the year, and I wanted to play a couple of games. Yeah, really? I wanted to play this. There's a game called Go Mecha Ball, which I'll talk about later. And there's just a handful of games, and this is like
Animal
a 30...
Is that on...
no, it's not on Game Pass. It's on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, I knew it was on PlayStation, just whether it was on Game Pass.
I am very keen to play Animal World too, though. That's been getting awesome reviews.
That's on my list. I have to play that.
Yeah.
It's downloaded. I'm ready to go.
Sounds like it's right up your alley too. Metroidvania, sounds awesome.
I'm very keen.
Yeah, so I signed up the Game Pass because it's like a $34 or $37 game. You bought it, so I guess you would know. But
33, I think. Yeah,
33.
Like a 10% pre-order bonus discount if you did it. So early.
Yeah, so
I
had a few things I wanted to play there. So I'm like, oh, well, it sort of makes sense financially to play it that way. And it also wasn't something that I was really sort of... When I saw it in the direct, I'm like, I played plenty of these games before where it is like checking off a checklist. And, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I need another one of those. I was like, a couple of years ago, there was a game called Little Gator Game, which I love the idea of it, but I found it really boring. I usually don't find that type of stuff boring. Like, it had a beautiful story about, an alligator who just wanted to play with his sister, and his imagination is just so infectious, how he just wants to play, like, essentially The Legend of Zelda with his friends, and they just had nothing to do with it, and you're exploring this island. But I fell off of it. I got kind of bored. And this is like a similar thing. You're exploring a city. You got these tasks to do, whether it's like collecting certain objects for animals, whether it's doing certain little tasks or just doing stuff around the city to sort of progress the story. But I think what this game does really great is just like its exploration throughout the city. It's not too big, even like against the name. It's not that big a city. It is pretty big for the cat, but if you're a person, it's like literally like a couple of shops. It's like a couple of streets so far. I'm not sure how much it opens up. It might just be massive. But I don't think it is. Up. Yeah.
But yeah.
But like, there's like, there's like like puddles of water and stuff that sort of block your path where you can't go through because the cat hates water. And the exploration is just like a lot of fun when you come across like somebody doing art and there's like an achievement for just like walking all over it. There's an in-game achievement, and then like playing on Xbox as well. I think there's like an actual
Yeah.
Xbox achievement as well. I think when I was playing it, I'm like, yeah, it, it's a good game to sort of play with achievements. It's definitely like that type of game where you just want to tick everything off the list, and it's nice having those achievements or trophies or Steam achievements, like whatever it is. It's nice having those to sort of tick off and put on your profile. And that is, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but it would be nice for to have that on Switch as well, where it isn't just like I'm ticking off these boxes just for the game itself. But luckily it is a lot of fun to sort of dive into anyway. But there's just like a lot of things to sort of work out for yourself to try and progress through the story. Like there's these dogs that sort of block the way. Like, all right, so I guess I can't go that way. But then you find a bone, you're like, oh, interesting. Like, I wonder if the dog will take the bone, and you put it in the bowl, and the dog just eating the bone. You can walk past him. It's like a bunch of stuff like that where you find these items. You're like, oh, I wonder if I can use this. Like I tripped over a person and they dropped their phone, and I picked up their phone and and ran away from them. I'm like, oh, I wonder if you can do anything with the phone. And later on, I find out that there's this bit side quest where somebody wants you to go and steal a phone so they can replace their slimy phone. And there's like just a bunch of stuff like that where everything seems to have a purpose, and working out what it does is a lot of fun. Just like in this small sandbox environment, playing as a cat and sort of ticking off those boxes as you go. But is it something that you've just played, or surely Michaela was pretty keen to jump on the sticks as well and have a play?
Yeah, so we pass the controller back to each other every 20 minutes or so. So we just play for a bit. We're both watching each other play, and then we do like a main mission or something each, or like something we endeavored to try and achieve. And then once we did it, we kind of swapped the controller, let the other person take over. So so it was fun that way. I wish there was a co-op mode somehow, and you could have two of you running around working together. But yeah, we made it work, and yeah, I was just enjoying watching her play when she was doing it, and vice versa. When I was playing, she was enjoying um, watching me play, and we'd help each other out, talk things over. So it was just one of those really cool, fun, cozy moments. You're just sort of chilling out on a Friday night and just playing some games together and having some fun. So um, the ducklings were very endearing. I don't know if you got to that stage.
Oh, I haven't found any ducklings yet.
Okay. No. All right. That's very cute. So there's a lot of very cute moments that come up, and even finding the different hats that you can wear yourself. There's many of those that you can find, and they're pretty funny, some of them. So
what's your favorite hat so far?
I found a fish head one that was been pretty funny for me. Kayla had a mushroom one. She loves mushrooms, and so that was an instant wear for her. So yeah, it's you're running around and you're fetching things. That's this game, and there's a bit of puzzle involved, but the dialogue's very funny and witty, and there's a little bit of zaniness, more so than I thought there would be in certain parts. There's a certain mechanic for how you move around the map, which I thought was quite funny and unexpected. So yeah, they're just I think Double Dagger's the developer. They published it themselves as well, and they've done a really great job. I think this is such a fun, solid game, and a great little indie to sort of showcase, and people should get behind it and buy it if you're somewhat interested. I would wholeheartedly recommend this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's worked out really, really great, especially like someone like me who was a little bit skeptical. I've played similar things before, but I think this is one that actually sort of gets it right in some ways. It's cozy, it's fun just to look around, explore, talk to the animals, do the little missions. And
right.
I looked at just like a full play just on YouTube, like how long does the game take? It looks like the video that I saw was like 100% was like 6 hours. And I appreciate that. Like I don't need to play this for 15 hours or 20 hours, but that seems like a nice little, a couple of play sessions, sort of sit down and enjoy this nice little cozy game. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. So I'm keen to get back to it and play some more Adventures of Little Cat. Catch some birds, get their feathers. That was a lot of fun too. Like you knock over one of the humans. They drop their sandwich. You steal their bread. You drop their bread, then use it as bait to get the birds. Then you pounce on them, and I found it funny how like the cat that gives you that mission says like, "Hey, look, you just let the birds go here because what else would you do with them?" Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah,
tongue in cheek. Yeah, what else would you do with those? Come on now.
yeah. The cat wouldn't brutally murder the little bluebirds.
No, definitely
No.
not. Not from past experience. What I've seen with my cats when they brought a bird in. Definitely not.
Definitely not. Wouldn't make a mess of it in the house.
No.
No.
Yeah, correct.
No. So yeah, awesome game.
Yeah.
You been playing anything else this week?
Just Endless Ocean. Still had a couple of nights.
Yes.
Diving. Friday night as well. The event dive weekend is started and still going on as we speak. I believe, and a little bit into Monday, maybe tomorrow.
I need to do it.
Yeah, you got to do it because
Mm.
just even tonight, later tonight, if you got some time, just
Yeah.
this is your chance to sort of you do some online dives with others, and if you do all the mission objectives, you just got to scan the certain fish. I keep thinking Pokemon. I keep thinking it's Pokemon Snap. But it's like Pokemon Snap. You got to scan the creatures. Certain ones unlock the mission, and then some mythical sea creatures should appear to fill in your Pokedex. And you got to scan them all. And I won't spoil what they were for me, but some pretty cool ones. So
there's 575 to scan, and you got to do the challenges to get those mythical fish to appear.
Pokemon.
There we go.
Pokemon.
Fish.
I want to be the very best angler
No
like
one
ever was. To scan them is my real test. To document is my cause. Something like that. That's good.
That's wonderful.
That's off the cuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned that too.
Oh,
thank you.
there we go. I've got a soundboard here, but I'm not game. I don't know what button it is.
Do you have a right button?
Yeah, this lucky dip. Oh, there we go. There's your applause.
There it is. Thank you.
No worries, mate.
I don't usually sing.
You.
But yeah, this weekend, get onto it. It's been fun.
Yes, I was meant to play with you the other night, but yeah, I had my shower. And
yeah, what happened? You said you're a bit tired.
I made the mistake and I fell asleep. And there was Josh swimming with the fishes.
Swimming with the fishes all by myself, but not in a dead way.
No, yeah, as I was saying, I'm like, no, he's not dead. He's not dead. Luckily. But yeah, I do need to get to it. But yeah, we had a massive conversation last week about Endless Ocean. If you missed it, you'd like to hear more about the biggest Nintendo release of the year, Endless Ocean Luminous. Go and check out episode 270 out. And,
or Nintendo Mania tomorrow morning. Because I have
Nintendo Mania tomorrow morning.
Who was also on the show. We talked all about Endless Ocean. Very good episode.
She's still diving. She's diving. She never stopped. You can't stop her. Yeah. She won't stop.
Yeah, she's committed. I dedicate. Hats off to her. That's great.
No, she joined the PlayStation Drive at Carpool Gaming. You're not allowed to play Switch anymore. That's just how it works. Switch is snapped in half. You just got to use the PS5. There's no diving games over there.
Console wars. It was better, wasn't it, Drew, when the console wars were a thing?
That's right. Yeah. We killed Sega. We'll kill everyone. You know what I mean?
You don't have to worry about Microsoft and Xbox, do we, Drew? Because they're doing that themselves, aren't they?
They are doing that themselves. I was about to say that Nintendo didn't kill Sega. It was PlayStation that came in and just slaughtered them. Those poor boys at Sega.
Yeah, well, yeah, showing them how it's done.
Yeah. No, fully, I was joking because I literally just talked about how I played a game on Xbox. So that's I'm not that. I'm not that much of a hypocrite. Not yet. I'm not old enough for that yet.
No, you're not.
You don't have to be old to be a hypocrite, but you get stuck in your ways in some, a lot of ways.
Yeah, Notice that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I guess for me, not Endless Ocean, but I did tick off some games that I've been meaning to finish for a long time. So finally played through Mario vs. Donkey Kong, got to the credits, and I enjoyed it. the last couple of worlds, which are brand new worlds to this version since it was remade from Game Boy Advance, the last two actually got me thinking and actually like trying to work out how to get through the levels. And even like dying a few times, like, all right, that didn't work. Let's try and redo it. And before then, like from World 1 to World 6, I was just spitting through these just easily, not really having to think too much, just like, have a bit of an overall of the map. Okay, this is how I get these presents, 100%, and move through it. I didn't have to think about it too much. But the last two worlds, I was like, all right. Like it's a little bit trickier. Even some situations where I figure out what to do, like the platforming was a little bit trickier as well. So I quite enjoyed that. It was great. And finishing the game, I knew that like a bunch more content opens up, but man, does a lot of content open up. Like time trials for every level that you've completed, as well as like expert levels, and a bunch of stuff just opens up. I don't think I'll jump straight back into it and like do that type of stuff. I did a few time trials for like World 1 just to see what it was all about, and that's pretty cool. I quite enjoyed that, just going back to easier levels after doing the last couple, which made me think a bit more. So it's fun just to bolt through them. But yeah, I really enjoyed my experience. It is Mario vs Donkey Kong, but I played on Game Boy Advance. But now on Switch, gorgeous, awesome music, bunch of content. Especially like when the game opens up afterwards, I can see the game being worth its price of admission in some ways. Because if it was just like a one-to-one remake of Mario vs Donkey Kong, you could say about like $70. A fair bit. It's still a fair bit for a lot of puzzle platformers you can get from indies and even older stuff that's on sale and all that type of thing. But yeah, this is a really good one. It's a lot of fun. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, good. Glad you enjoyed it a bit more at the end there. That's good.
Yeah. I was just sort of like, more in the mood for it. Like, I was listening to podcasts and sort of doing other things in my headphones as well as playing the game. It's not nice little, don't have to worry about dialogue or story. That's where it's nice.
Yeah.
To be able to sort of relax and listen to a bunch of stuff going on. But I've got to look. And the other game I finished, I had to remember what it was because it was like literally at the start of the week last week. But I played through Pepper Grinder, which was great. Devolver Digital game. It didn't take too long. It was like I think I finished it just over 4 hours. And the main game itself probably took like, I don't know, 3 hours. But man, the last boss, it kept me up. It was one of those situations where it was getting like, I'm looking at the clock. It was like, I don't know, say it was 1 o'clock. I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to just to put the Switch in sleep mode and go to bed. I've got to beat this thing. Like, it's one of those things. You die, you slowly learn as you're going along. And I got to the point where I got it fairly worked out, but I just beat the boss at like 2:30 in the morning. And like the lead up to that, I was like looking, every time I died, I looked up. I'm like, I'll fit in one more. All right, one more. And I was just slowly inching towards it. And eventually I beat it. I'm like, thank God. Because I couldn't go to bed and leave it. Like it would have just been in the back of my head, like frustrated that.
Really? Okay. You just like had to do it. Yep.
And the rest of the game too, I didn't have too much trouble. I did die, but it wasn't like a level where I'm just like, I can't get through it. I'm just like banging my head against the wall. So in some ways it was nice, but the last boss, offered a lot of challenge. It probably would have been one of those situations where this has happened to me a lot in the past where I'm struggling against a boss or a challenge in a game and I just put it down and pick it up the morning after and then like I get it straight away. Like, I forgot what the term is, like the medical term, but like there is something where your brain has a certain amount of time to process your learnings, what's going on, and then
I've
you
done
can.
That before.
Yeah, there is something to that.
I get it with Wordle. I get stuck on it, and I come back to an hour or two later. I'm like, it's this, and like straight away, it's Oh, I need to know the name of this. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah. So I guess for anybody that doesn't know what the game is, Pepper Grinder, it's a 2D platformer, sprite-based, where your sort of main mechanic for the game is you have a drill and you can drill through the ground. And what you're able to do with that is actually some pretty cool things. Like you can drill into the ground, and when you come up to the surface, you can do like a dolphin dive, and you can use like the physics from the drill, and it allows you to do some really actually interesting platforming situations where you dive into like you dive out the ground, you dive into like a rock at the top, and then you're able to like to spin around and dive into the wall. It becomes pretty robust as the game goes along, chucks in like a lot of different mechanics as it goes around as well. And it was just like really creative as you're going through each level. There's like levels where lava, you've got to make it set to be able to drill through the lava and dive out of that into the ceiling. And yeah, it was just sort of a great experience. I think I just used my my GG app, do a little review after each episode, not each
Yep.
episode, after each game when I finish it. I think I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5 stars. That's where it landed me. I think it's a great game. It was a lot of fun. But I saw some people sort of complaining about the length of the game. I thought it was actually a great length. Like I don't need it to be
Okay.
so long for me. That's just where I am with games these days. Just when I sit down, I'm quite happy to play a game over 2 nights and have a lot of fun with it, and sort of move on. Not every game like that, obviously. There are some games where I like to sit with it for a couple of weeks or longer than that, but I certainly
Yeah.
love like a lot of these smaller, like independent games, which sort of fill up a fair bit of my playing time these days. But
Yeah.
does Pepper
I
Grinder
mean,
sort of float your boat, Josh, as far as you wanting to give it a go, or
yeah. I do remember being excited for it being released and the lead up to it. I have played a little since did receive the copy. Um, and yeah, just I need to just dedicate some time to play it a bit more because I was having a good time with it. And um, yeah, I played it for an hour, and it sounds like I'm not too far off really if I keep going, and not a long game or anything like that. But yeah, just an interesting mechanic, the continual drilling and sort of the puzzles and how you sort of platform your way through it. So it's quite unique from that point of view. So yeah, just glad to hear it's you're having a good time with it. Not too long, which probably is a good thing. Yeah, I'm not definitely not going to complain about that either. And
yeah,
yeah, I'll let you know how it go.
yeah, like especially for like indie developers, I think it's good to not put pressure on for wanting like a really long game where it just like bloats the experience and just
Yeah,
makes them have to put more time and money into their projects. I think it's actually a sort of a great thing. Like, put out a game with like a really novel idea, looks fantastic, the mechanics are fun, great replay value, but it doesn't have to stick around for 10 hours. It can just be like a nice 3-4 hour experience, which I think is just a great thing for I guess indie devs to just strive towards when it comes to like just the amount of length and content in their games and how much you need. Like, for the most part, like just how it works, you usually have like a longer AAA game probably you're playing, but then you're also playing like these other games that draw your attention and you want to play, whether it's for the story or just fun arcadey experience or whatever draws you towards it. But I think yeah, a lot of these games sort of nail it in that respect. I think Pepper
yeah,
Grinders, yeah, a great length.
that's good.
Hmm, absolutely. All right, so I think that's all I played. I did play a bit of a game what I mentioned at the start, Go Mecha Ball, which I played on Game Pass. I won't talk too much about it because I've done like a couple of runs. I probably played it like an hour all up, but I didn't realize it was a roguelite. But it's actually pretty fun. It really grabbed my attention at the start of the year. It released on Xbox and PC, probably like February or March or something like that. Like, it released pretty early, so it's been a while, but it's been on my list for a fair while since I've just been wanting to renew my Game Pass, and it's pretty cool. It's a top down game. You play as this little character where if you hold in the trigger, you actually turn into like a morph ball, and then when you let go of the trigger,
Okay.
you've got like a gun or weapons, and it's a twin stick shooter. So it's really
Okay.
interesting the mechanics that it throws at you. Like, you
Yep.
can go into the morph ball, and then say there's an opponent that's going to attack you. You can do like a dash into it to stop it from doing its attack on you. And that's also how you get ammo in the game. Is you basically do like a dodge into someone or a parry or whatever you want to call it. and that's what gives you ammo. And there's like a pretty cool sort of back and forth between using your morph ball to get away from fire or using it to attack, and then getting out of it, you're a lot slower, but then you're able to use your weapons. And as you go through each level has 3 stages where it has 3 ways of enemies coming at you. And then you're able to, once you do the stage, you do the three stages, it gives you like an option of like what your upgrade wants to be. You can choose an ability, you can upgrade your health, you can upgrade your damage. You know, it gives you like 3 of those options. And it's just like it's a pretty fun, arcadey, just amazing feeling roguelite, actually. Like the gameplay feels amazing. Like as soon as I started playing it, like I started firing off the gun, and like the machine gun you get at the start, like doof, 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 and you can feel the vibration of the controller, and it felt amazing. Like getting my hands on the sticks for the first time, it was awesome. So I have more to say on that. That'll probably you could see like Xbox having a, I guess, like a exclusive thing on that for 6 months or a year or whatever. You can see it coming to Nintendo platforms and PlayStation later on. But yeah, that's something that I've been looking forward to playing for a little while now, and yeah, it feels great.
Awesome.
I'm gonna download it on the ROG Ally as well. So
yeah,
be a fun little handheld game to play on there. But I think that's all I've been playing.
Bit more variety. Have you touched Side Order as well since?
I haven't. I saw Wacko Jacko. He said he could give me some advice. My main target this week, obviously with Mother's Day and all of that, that was today. Shout out to all the mums as well.
Yes. Yes.
Shout out to the mums. I was meant to say that at the start, but happy Mother's Day, everybody. Even love your mum. I know you'll be listening to this. Does your mum listen to your podcast, Josh?
No.
I bet she doesn't. No. My mum keeps on calling it's like, oh, did you record a blog this week? No, it's not a blog, Mum. I did start off doing a blog years ago, but
similar audio blog-ish in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't say shit and all that as many times in my blog as I do my podcast.
Dear diary. No.
Cross. I can't even remember what I was talking about now. Where we go off with Mother's Day? Oh yes, Wacko Jacko didn't play Splatoon. Yes, I wanted to get a couple of those games finished. I wanted to do Pepper Grinder, then I moved on to Donkey Kong. Played a bit of I didn't do Endless Ocean, but yeah, did a bit of the Game Pass stuff. So yeah, just been elsewhere. But I'm a little bit nervous because this Go Mecha Ball game, that's a roguelite as well. I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't expecting that to be one of those. So don't know. I'll
just
be
thrown a bit into the bit of chaos.
Yeah, do I need 2 of them?
To work through.
Don't know. Well, I need to play more Splatoon. That was fun.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, Josh, it's getting late here, mate. Would you like to continue on with the sort of the topic I brought up at the start before we started recording, or should we leave that to next week? It's up to you, my friend. I know it's late. You got work tomorrow.
I want to touch that one. That's important.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, easy peasy. So this is like a Nintendo podcast, but this is something that's been on my mind for the last week or so. It's been very frustrating, and that's just all of the stuff that's been going on with Xbox. It's closure of 4 Bethesda studios, and it's been something that's been extremely frustrating as as a gamer, as somebody who plays on Xbox, and it's been a really dumb sort of time to restart up my Game Pass subscription. It made sense for me just for the games I want to play, but man, it doesn't feel good giving those bastards money. It really doesn't. But just to catch people up, just if you haven't seen it, Xbox been doing major layoffs over the last month or so. Started off with Activision Blizzard, made a lot of those redundant jobs that did a lot of stuff on development, but also sort of outside as far as the marketing, bring physical games to the market, all of that type of stuff. They made redundant, fired over 1,500 people, which was a big culling as far, and they sort of moved over to their Bethesda sort of chain of operations. They acquired Bethesda 4 years ago, and now they've made big cuts there as well. And what they've done there is they've cut Tango Gameworks, which is their only Japanese development studio. They're the studio behind Hi-Fi Rush, only a year ago. Evil Within 1 and 2, and I can't remember the 2020
Ghostwire
game.
Tokyo.
Ghostwire Tokyo. Thank you very much. And yeah, so that team gone. Oh man, I'm trying to remember the other one. Yeah, I've forgotten. It's frustrated me. Need to look a little bit of a list up here.
Another game series. Is that what you're thinking?
Arcane. I couldn't remember the name of Arcane, Austin. Yeah, so that studio's gone as well. Which is also frustrating. They did, or it's annoying that it's all leaving my head now. It's getting late. Redfall, yeah, Redfall. I was just thinking like Deadfall. No, that's not it. So I did Redfall. Yeah. That was a massive. That was a massive failure last year, but they also, did Prey years before that, which is just like a really high rated game. And and a couple of other studios as well. I'm not going to get like super into like what every studio does, but this, Josh, why this is really frustrating to me, and even with like all the stuff that's been going on with Xbox this year, with like they're bringing their games to multiple platforms, all of that stuff. A lot of the community sort of just been like, "What the hell's going on?" And that didn't bother me. It's kind of like you're losing sort of a personality for your platform, for your console, all of that. Like a lot of like the games that define the personality and the reasons why you would go and buy an Xbox over a PlayStation or a Switch, you're losing that personality. But it's not that big a deal at the end of the day. Whatever type of thing. They're chasing more users, more money. It's whatever. Yeah, at the end, it doesn't matter. That's where I just sort of came down on that. But when it comes down to like just erasing just personnel and creative people that have sort of defined your brand for the last couple of years, especially when it comes to Hi-Fi Rush, Xbox have been chasing like just games, just content to put out for the last 12 years. Since Xbox One, they just did not equip themselves to make video games. They just sort of expected to be like a third-party box and have that be enough. That's what they did during Xbox 360. They had 6 studios, and most of them were just dedicated to one franchise, whether it's Halo, Forza, Gears of War. They had Rare just making avatars and the Kinect games in Xbox 360. Like they just sort of, they did not equip themselves to compete with PlayStation. Over the PS3, they really sort of ramped up their exclusive efforts, starting basically with Uncharted, and it all sort of rolled on from there. And obviously we know what Nintendo does. They've always been about exclusives and drawing people to their platform through Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But Xbox, they sat on their morals and they got off to a massive just back start when it comes to what they needed to do. And after acquiring a bunch of studios in 2018, we finally got to the point where they started to release some of those games. We got Hellblade coming out, Hellblade 2 coming out this month, and now we're at the point where they're just, all right, that's not enough. We've acquired Call of Duty, and just the lack of foresight into what it takes to run the Call of Duty machine, an annual series that like the whole economics of video games revolves around, whether it's the platform holders, other publishers not releasing during that time. Like so much revolves around Call of Duty, whether you're a player of it or not. It's undeniable how important it is for just everybody involved with that game, whether it's the publisher, the developers, whether it's like PlayStation, being unsure whether it's going to be on their platform back in the early days when the FCC was sort of fighting for it and all of that type of thing. And to the point where Xbox was like, oh shit, this costs a lot of money. We better start hacking off studios that really sort of have defined a I guess, the future of what Xbox's culture could, or what a lot of people would have liked to see. Um, it's just super frustrating, and seeing like the reasoning why, because I don't live in the fairies. I'm not going to be like, oh look, I want this is a cool game, it should live forever. There are logistical reasons why studios can be cut or closed or whatever. But hearing the reasoning why, with like Sarah Bond, how she had that interview with Forbes and she had such a non-answer, I'm like, you're the president of Xbox. Surely, like, if there's a reason, I'm all ears. You made a great game, but maybe, Christ, maybe nobody was there. You're way too expensive. You're on the other side of the world. Like, I'm sure there's reasons, but not to be able to provide any reasons, is just, it's just kind of heartbreaking for all of the people that work there and put their efforts in there. It's like the only Xbox game that's received a Game at the Game Awards for God knows how long. Like, it's ridiculous. Yep. And why I'm so frustrated by it, is it because I'm a massive Xbox fan? No, not particularly. Is it because I just love video games and I want good video games from as many publishers and developers as I can? Yes, it is. Like, I'm a Nintendo fan because I love Nintendo games. I think they're awesome. They're so much fun. They bring joy to my life. Same with like a lot of PlayStation stuff, the odd Ubisoft thing. Like, all of these publishers have games that I really like. Even like EA, obviously you had Mass Effect and all that back in the day, which probably not a good example for me because I've never got that much into Mass Effect. But, like Need for Speed and all of that. Like, I love a lot of those games. And it's just frustrating to see a company that I've really liked the vision of when it comes to their philosophy of taking in, like, when it comes to a lot of the studios they acquired back in 2018, there were a lot of like art houses, like real independents. And the idea was that they would no longer have to worry about money because $1 trillion Microsoft will come in and be like, hey, look, we just need content for Game Pass and good content at that. You guys can provide that. Come on in. You don't have to worry about being closed. You don't have to worry about, the logistics of running the business. We'll do that for you. You just be creative. So when it comes to like Tim Schafer and his company and all that, like, it's like brilliant. I can't wait to see what they do. But Activision has completely changed what their goals are. Just, they're so big, and the shareholders at Microsoft have they're pulling all the calls by the look of it. And it doesn't matter whether Hi-Fi Rush wins great brand sort of recognition for Xbox. It's not enough. And what will be enough? Will Hellblade 2 be enough? No way. It's not going to be anywhere near what they're hoping for. Will anything from Double Fine be enough? No, it won't. Like, a lot of these studios they bought, the promises that they were made, it's just completely changed within the 4 years. So I love to hear from you, Josh. But for me, it's been one of the most frustrating bits of gaming news I've heard in years. Just going back to the Xbox sort of the kerfuffle in the community. None of that really. It raised an interesting question. But like, can you release a console and have no exclusives? Like, I think a lot of people sort of take that for granted. Like, you just buy it because it's a good box, it's a good piece of hardware. DVD players, you can play all DVDs. It doesn't matter. There's no exclusive for your Blu-ray player or whatever. But it's different. It's an ecosystem. It's a community. There's a lot of different things. And like, going back to these older retro consoles as well, like, there's a reason to pick up a Dreamcast. There's a reason to pick up a Wii U. There's a reason to go back to Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. They've all got their exclusives, their vibes, their eras. But Xbox, since Xbox One, just doesn't have that. And they're just, they're good boxes for the time. But what's going to draw you back to Xbox Series X in 15 years, for example? Probably nothing. Especially if they go to PlayStation and that too. But I don't know, man. It's been a frustrating time. And as a Nintendo fan as well, it's like, Nintendo, their whole philosophy is, like, you can't acquire the talent that makes Nintendo games. You can't buy that. You've got to cultivate that in your own company. You got to bring people in. You got to you got to work for it. You can't just buy it. You can't just swing your big Microsoft dick around and
You
then
teach
change
them
your
the
mind.
Nintendo DNA. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They don't acquire. They teach from within. They got like a 98% retention rate for that reason. People who work at Nintendo stay at Nintendo, and they know how to make Nintendo games. And so, very different to what Microsoft has tried to do with the acquisitions, isn't it?
Mm, yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
just yeah.
My the way I see it, and like big like travesty and horrible for what Tango Gameworks and Arcane Studios, is that the other one? Arcane, they're the two
Yeah.
Drew.
So
Yep.
Arcane, they have a couple of studios. Yeah, and yeah, one of them was yeah, closed.
Yep. All right. So yeah, obviously horrible, and like especially for Tango Gameworks, who've just made Hi-Fi Rush, which wins all these accolades. Becomes an exclusive to Game Pass, and people love it. But so when I say people love it, I'm hearing maybe it didn't quite um, sell as well. So was it? So it'd be available on Game Pass day one.
Hmm.
Can people still buy the game? I don't have an Xbox, so how does that work? Can
Yeah,
you
yeah,
buy the
absolutely.
game if you want it outright? So you can do that. And then it
Yep.
came to PlayStation earlier this year, didn't it? About a couple of months ago. In that,
I think it did. I honestly didn't keep up to date with that because I
yeah.
didn't
So it got
need a
announced for
PlayStation copy.
PlayStation, I
But
think,
yeah.
but not for Switch. So I think I
Mm.
heard they didn't maybe sell as well as I thought, and so the money wasn't coming in, and maybe they made a loss on it. But it's interesting because the whole subscription thing, which I think is we're seeing issues with this, not just in video games,
Yes.
but in media altogether. Everyone who's created something, Disney, Paramount, Netflix, they're all doing their own thing now, and when everyone does it and everyone's asking for that $15-20 a month, surely it gets to a stage, and I think we're seeing it already, where the market gets saturated. And, you know, is this really a profitable way to distribute and your products, get them out there, get people to see it, and you make money and you can, reinvest it and keep going. With video games, it's an expensive thing, and so I think the issue, especially with Hi-Fi Rush, is um, maybe the failings, or trying to build Game Pass where there's not revenue being domiciled to a particular game if it sells well, or maybe in this case, Hi-Fi Rush doesn't sell well. Maybe another series like Activision could, owned by Microsoft, makes plenty of money. That money could be used to help keep this studio alive. You double down, you believe in Hi-Fi Rush, you make a sequel. This is how games franchises become big deals, and this could be like your next big mascot or something. You keep building on it and maybe market it differently the next time. It's a critically acclaimed game. Maybe it just needs a bit more time out in the sun. But for whatever reason, they've decided to close it down now, in a time of high inflation and high costs, and AAA productions, just like the time spans and money and efforts just through the roof. Um, I don't know. I just would have thought, you could take one from the other to prop something up in the meantime, on the proviso or the hope that get Tango Gameworks next sequel, Hi-Fi Rush 2, to a way that it can be sustainable on its own. Yeah, it's very interesting because they did the whole couple of months ago. It's not just selling games on Game Pass, or sorry, having games on Game Pass. We're going to sell some other titles on other consoles and make some money that way. Um, that might have been a last ditch thing, just to try and see what they could do. And it seems like maybe that wasn't enough, and Microsoft have pulled the pin, which I think it's incredibly sad. And I think what the next day they talk about they need to make small successful games or something, and then you just
Yeah.
close Tango
They use
Gameworks.
Hi-Fi Rush as an example. Matt Booty,
Yeah,
who
yep,
runs the first party and Bethesda lines over at Microsoft. Yeah, you literally use that as an
mm,
example. But I think why it
yeah,
frustrates me so much, because you know just these closures have been happening throughout the games industry. It's been incredibly sad and scary to watch. If you're in this industry, I can only imagine how terrifying it is.
yeah,
And somebody who just likes video games, I'm like, this talent, a lot of it isn't going to be coming back into the industry. It's gone. Like they're going to be off getting jobs where you don't get fucked around and taken advantage of. So, they're not going to be coming back. But this why it frustrates me so much. Like, Sony, they shut down, their London team, and it's not the same thing. But with Xbox, it's just they've been struggling for so long. They've had nothing to show for it. All they do is show, oh, look, we made a Series X fridge. We got a toaster. We released 1 million colors for our controller. But we got no fucking games. We got no games. Nothing. And they buy these studios. They buy a couple of publishers. And then they get a game where people are like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. It's they only mentioned that it's as far as players for Hi-Fi Rush, it had 4 million players across Game Pass and people who bought it probably on Steam and whatever. So the amount of people who probably bought it, not sure, but that is their model. That is where they made their bed with Game Pass. I probably would have bought it if it wasn't on Game Pass. So I don't know if that's a Tango problem. I don't think it is. But when you struggle that long, you got no brand identity, and you get to these studios that can give you that brand identity, and you just get rid of them, especially one that's in Japan where you've been struggling to get Japanese games. You're struggling to get into that market, and you've got a studio that you inherited just through one of your acquisitions in that region that could lead to, just acquiring talent in Japan, that could lead to relationships, that could lead to like a lot of things. But just because they look at a spreadsheet and like, oh, look, we need to make cuts here because Call of Duty costs a lot of money to make, it's time to go. Especially like with like Arcane as well. It's frustrating for that because they made a bad game. Yes, it was a disaster last year, but that was through like a phase that Bethesda was going through because they went through like a sort of a multiplayer sort of a thing they were going through where they had to make multiplayer games to make money because Bethesda was going through like a pretty rough era. And that was the last of those games to come out. There was a Wolfenstein game that was really bad just with that multiplayer aspect. So this was sort of like the last version of that to come out. And to see that these studios went purely because they released their game, they were looking to staff up, and they didn't want to really put more resources into it, so they just closed the studio. Yeah, it's just I don't know what they're doing over there. They're so unequipped to handle any IP, any talent, anything over there. Like, as somebody who just like who pays attention to it from the outside, and somebody who just like wants to have good games from them. It's like you're so unequipped. Like, I can't believe what they've done to Halo. Like, I cannot believe what they've done to Halo. Like, it's disgusting. I'm not that passionate about Halo. I had fun with it back, Halo 1 and 2 and 3 and Reach. Yep. Like I played all those games, a lot of fun, a lot of great multiplayer times. But handing it to 343, and with how Microsoft works, where they just have contractors come in and do their bit and they all go, they don't really have like a unified team necessarily. And just like seeing the fumbles for every single game they've released, all the way up to Infinite, where it's just what is going on with Infinite? Like, it sounds like it's in a decent place now, but launched in an awful place. And what they did to the TV show, they gave it to like a producer who never played the games, didn't give a shit about it. And first couple of episodes, Chief is walking out. He's just like takes off his helmet, and you see him like naked from behind, seeing his ass and shit. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, how disrespectful. I'm listening to people who like know Halo and they're talking about the TV show. I've never bothered to watch the TV show. Like, sign up to Paramount Plus, which I don't have, to watch this awful TV show. I'm not going to do it. But there's like Halo Reach. It's all about the battle on Reach. And during one of the scenes, like for that pivotal scene, I assume people, I'm not going to spoil it, but this is just like what they've done wrong on this scene, is that they couldn't get to their Spartan armor. So during that pivotal scene, none of them have their Spartan armor on. And I assume that's just so you could see more of them because it's a TV show. But it's like, really? There's this fight going on and they don't have their Spartan armor in Halo? Like, Christ almighty, like, fucking wrote this shit. And then you see like what Nintendo and PlayStation and even Fallout, but Xbox don't have really any claim to with what happened with the Fallout TV show. But when it's done right and people care about the product and people have, know what the source material from the video games is, you see what comes out of it. And I just, there's, don't know. I've lost faith. It's sort of broken me. This one, I'm like, Christ almighty.
Yeah.
So-
it's sad. It's sad. It's I don't know. It just should work better, shouldn't it? How it all works. Just seeing too much of it at the moment. Too many closures. Too many studios being closed for good. Too much talent being left on its own. And then looking, I know, maybe trying to look at a positive. Hope there's some really good indie studios developed out of this. These people who've lost their roles and can find something, but sadly that won't be the case for all of them. And some will have to find work in other areas that is probably a bit more stable because God, there's just one thing in video games working in that you just don't know, and it's pretty unpredictable. So, but for Tango Gameworks, I don't really know what they could have done much better, to be honest. I think and then the fact they closed them as well. I'm looking at the website too. They haven't mentioned anything on their website right now. They've still got a page for like new graduate hiring for 2025 and things like
Oh,
that.
really?
So yeah, there's
They put out something on
so-
social media, but
Yep. I
how
can't
sad that
see.
they've still got hiring things up there. Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Microsoft's known for this, aren't they? They're just used to cutting things and being a bit ruthless when it comes to the bottom line. And they're one of the biggest companies in the world, and they have demanding shareholders and a lot of expectation to keep things profitable. So sadly, that is their number one focus. And cutting things like this is what they see as a way to do that eventually. And no matter what they spin and try to tell you in interviews, that is effectively what they're trying to do. So it's just sad. It's just makes me glad that Nintendo doesn't do stuff like this. And there's always the path they've gone down of being not tech specky heavy has led them to the success that they're having now, and they're well positioned because of it.
Yeah, like, obviously don't get us wrong. Nintendo is not your friend. They do not care about you. They are very money hungry as well, and they will do what they can do to position themselves in the industry to be able to get as much money as possible from you. But at least they have a culture of being like, hey, look, you're going to be safe here if you do the right thing. And, they cultivate, just a workplace that will hopefully get the best out of you because they know people, like, if they look after the people, they'll look after them and make great games, and people love great games and I will buy them from them, especially with that Nintendo IP slapped all over it. But I think what really frustrates me as well, like, COVID was, awful for everybody. People went through hard times, loss of family members, it's just inflation, all of that stuff that's happened since. And everybody, all of these companies sort of expected that to stay on, and they hired up all of that. Now they're letting all those people go, and they still expect that money to be where it was in 2020. When Animal Crossing was popping off, all these companies were just reaping the benefits of people being stuck at home. And as it's probably not like, it's definitely the most opposite ends of the spectrum. But when it comes to like comparing like our business, like on the farm, compared to what Microsoft's expecting, like as a farmer, you sort of, you predict what's going to happen throughout the year. You do your planning, and then you can do your crops, you can have your animals producing, all of that type of thing. But you have no dictation over the market, you have no dictation over the weather, you have no dictation over so many factors, and you can just hope for the best. And some years they'll be awesome. You'll have great profits, great sustainability, but other years it just go all the wrong way, and you won't make as much, or you might even lose money. It's just how it is. It's how a lot of small businesses operate. But when it comes to like these massive conglomerates who just, all they see is money. There's no like, oh man, We had an amazing year 2020. People were stuck at home playing video games. But the following year, people went out a little bit more. They started seeing their family. They started, God forbid, going for a walk in the park. I don't know. And they didn't spend as much money on the latest Call of Duty game because fuck, they're probably that sick of the last one because they played that much of the goddamn thing. So we're down 10%, but God, we still made a lot of money. If you're down like 50% or something, holy shit, you got to turn that business around. But when it's like going down little by little, it will fluctuate. It will vary. So just trying to make that up by slashing studios that they're assets that will make you money, hopefully, unless something's wrong, something's really wrong, and like a project gets cancelled or something. But like something like Hi-Fi Rush, all this stuff, like, man, like the amount of bum change it is for Microsoft to keep this alive, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of it all, yeah.
But yeah, in the grand scheme of it all, yeah, if I was trying to keep Tango Gameworks alive, holy shit, they wouldn't stay around for a day with my savings. But Microsoft's $3 trillion, and
they got it. They can afford it.
It's important. They make their money with Call of Duty. They're going to have eventually a new Fallout, all of the stuff from Bethesda, like all of the IPs. If they get Halo back, firing on all cylinders, Gears of War, like they'll have their big hitters. But when it comes to them either being a publisher or being a platform holder, it's important to have those other games to really define the culture of what Xbox is. It's important to have Hi-Fi Rush to define the culture of Xbox. It's important to have Hellblade 2 to define what the culture of Xbox is. Have these great games as well as like just the easy money ones, which is Call of Duty, which is all of this other stuff, which will print you money. But if you want fans that like, oh look, Hi-Fi Rush and Halo and all, like it makes a difference. And PlayStation, PlayStation 3, they had that. They've sort of let go of that as well. It's just the state of the industry. But especially with Game Pass too, it's important to feed that with stuff that isn't just, I don't know, what's the point of playing Fallout and Call of Duty and all these massive games on Game Pass? It kind of beats the point of it. You might as well just buy the fucking things. But maybe that's what they want as well. I don't know. They seem to be losing faith in everything they do. So work it out. Christ.
Super interesting what they do with Call of Duty. If they make it on Game Pass or if they charge separately for it. I don't know how long-term sustainability they can have it just on Game Pass and it still works and they can still do what they want. They have to charge it separately, or they still keep it to PlayStation. They have to not just have it just on Xbox.
Yeah, it's it will be on PlayStation, but the idea
Switch,
of having it
or Switch 2, 10-year deal.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see Call of Duty on Nintendo again. It's been a long time.
Yes, has been a while.
But yeah, I don't know. Bit of a rant there, sorry, Josh. But Christ Almighty, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I forgot too. But I literally, it makes me frustrated, and it's annoying because I don't usually let gaming news or any of that stuff like frustrate me in like my day to day. Like I've got other things to think about, other problems, other situations. But I'm like, really, like it's been 12 years of them just fucking trying to fumble this ball. Just like, like a bunch of clowns like trying to juggle and they're dropping them. It's like, come on, guys, like you can do it. Come on. It's like, oh, we bought 6 studios. Oh, great. I haven't seen any of those fucking games yet. And, we bought, like, if the Wii U lasted this long, like, there's no way I'd be a Nintendo fan. I'm like, all right, that's enough. So I don't know how Xbox has any. Don't know how Xbox has any fans. Like, fuck me. Bunch of fucking clowns over there. Like,
it's been a rough period.
All of them. Matt
Xbox
Booty,
fans,
Phil Spencer,
sure.
All of them. Fucking work it out. Work out what you want to do. Do you want to be a publisher? Do you want to be a platform holder? Do you just want to be a Call of Duty machine? Work it out. But the thing is, they keep on talking out just both sides of their mouth. Like, oh, yeah, no, we're all about the art here. It's like, fuck off. You're not. You're not.
No, that's right. Yeah, they're saying one thing and doing another. They're just, being hypocrites to people. And, It just, I don't think anyone can see the fairness in what they've done. I think that's a big thing. What else could have Tango done to really save themselves? And it seems like that was always going to, get cut, which is incredibly sad.
Yeah, nothing's good enough. No.
Yeah, no. So yeah.
All right, rant over. Josh, is there any sort of way we can sort of transition this to the end of the show without being such on a down note? And it wasn't even about Nintendo specifically. It was just. Yeah.
That's right. Let's do a little exercise, Drew. I want you to close your eyes.
Okay.
So close your eyes. In through the nose. Breathe in through the nose. Out through the mouth. You can breathe through your nose. Yeah. Once more.
Yep.
And repeat after me. Nintendo Direct in June.
Nintendo Direct in June.
Okay. Once more. In and out. Switch successor before the end of the Nintendo financial year.
Switch successor by the end of the financial year.
Yeah, close enough.
It sounded very fanboyish, didn't it?
Some good things to come.
Yeah. I'm just rag on Xbox for that long when it's like, oh yes, Nintendo, oh yeah. Look, when it comes to Nintendo,
you seem very happy with it before, and we were both looking forward to it. We were saying how
I am.
So that's what I was trying to bring you back to.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. But everybody, if you got this far, if you got through that, I appreciate it very much. Let me know what your thoughts are about all of this stuff, whether it's about Nintendo's future as far as upcoming games, or Xbox just doing an oopsie. As far as I'm concerned, they'll regret it. Maybe.
Big oopsie.
No, they got what to do. They don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck. And yeah, let me know what you think. But Josh, that brings us to the end of episode 271. Appreciate you sitting through that rambling as well. I appreciate it.
No, don't apologize. I think it's important stuff to talk about. Always a pleasure being on the show with you, Drew. Had a really good time.
Yeah, no, I had a great time as well. It was a nice little Sunday recording for us as well. I hope you have a great dinner out with your fiance tomorrow for her birthday. Hope she has a great time.
Yeah, and thank you for allowing us to record tonight. Much appreciated.
Absolutely, it's great. And thank you to everybody in the chat live here at youtube.com/iDruby. Foolish Fuji. I've got to scroll up. Wacko Jacko. Anybody else? Was it just those two? I think it was. Guys, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And it's funny, I almost read your name because you replied to a couple of people in there too.
Yes.
Like, yeah, thanks to Tenvania for being in there.
That's all right. Anytime.
I might as well get in there too. Just
I give it. I respond to things.
Bloody beautiful, mate. Yeah. But I think the hashtag for this week could be I don't know. What would be a good hashtag for this week, Josh? As far as leaving in the comments or whatever.
Not financials, because that's just me that's really into it.
Somebody's like, oh, Josh, I love the financials.
Love the financial
advisor. Don't know.
Pokemon movies. Pokemon movie.
Yeah. Hashtag Pokemon movie. That's random.
No. Then Pokemon 2000 or I don't know. I'm not good. I don't do hashtags, Drew. I don't know.
Oh, fair enough. All right. This was meant to be a brainstorming session, but it turned out to be just a bit of a stalling of time. But so I'll just make one up. So just hashtag switch to thom. Switch to THOM. It's getting late.
Thom. Do that too.
Love you all. Thank you very much. But the doors to the House of Mario, they're closed. I don't have my door sound effect loaded up, so it's going to be this. Catch you later.
Bye, everyone.